I remember back to like right before we moved back into New York, because we were living in New York before the pandemic. Right before we moved back to New York, we were living in Little Rock, Arkansas, and part of it was like, I'm so not happy with something. What can I change? I never ever thought about changing my relationship. like I never even, that never even crossed my mind. Like out of all the things that could change, because I'm seeing, I was seeing things as fixed, right? Like my family is my family, my wife is my wife, my, identity is my identity. Welcome to Permission the Podcast. I'm Dr. T, and this is my sister,
Silvana, and we are two regular people talking about spirituality in our daily lives.
Each week, we're inviting you to the internal conversation. So let's get started.
With your permission.
Welcome back.
Permission the Podcast.
Okay, we're doing the February series.
Oh, yeah, that means it's all about love, relationships.
Love.
Yeah. And this week's episode is called
The Irregularity of Growth.
Okay. Let's go right in.
So people change at different rates. I mean, obviously, we grow at different times. So I guess the idea of two people growing together at the same rate is kind of crazy, right?
Right. For that, there's a lot of choosing. You have to choose to walk with that person wherever they are. And they also have to walk with you in a way that you both are doing it together, growing together at the same time, yet you're at different spots anyway. But it does take a lot of choosing every day. And just how you're coming in the day too, right? Like I heard this before where people's like, okay, it is not that you complete me, but at times I can only put in certain amount, like I can put in 50% or 80%. Whatever you're coming in, you have to come in with the balance at least, just to make it happen. Or if you are not in the right place and you're like, you know what, I only got 20% today. And not by saying it, but just kind of knowing each other, right? I'm just respecting too where you are, and I don't know. Respect and love. I don't know. Did that make any sense? I'm like all over the place.
Okay. So I think it's unreasonable for there to be an expectation that two people are going to grow at the same time, at the same rate forever.
Right. And also sometimes you meet there's people that have been married forever or in a relationship with someone for a long, long time. And when they met, they were in the 20s, or when they met, they were in the early 30s. And that person will change in many ways. And sometimes we I don't want to say don't accept it, but it's like a person is going to go through different changes, and the other person not necessarily could like that change or not necessarily be at the same rate of how fast they're changing, right? And so in order for two people to walk together, one has to either slow down or the other one has to speed up how they walk. But at the end, they have to both walk at the same pace. Pace, yeah. At the same pace in order to be able to walk side by side. And that can be challenging, and it takes choosing, presence, all kinds of things. And at times that doesn't work out. And there's people that manage to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So cheers to those that are still working together and they're choosing each other, and
And cheers to those who decided that it just wasn't
right.
going to
And
happen.
cheers to those that make the decision that, okay, this isn't happening. Let's part ways and, make it healthier for everybody in a way.
So, how do you feel about this outgrow term? Because I don't know how I feel about it. I don't
I
like it.
You don't like it? Okay, I kind of, well, it's not, it could be viewed as something. I like it. I like the fact that, okay, you're outgrowing the space that you're in. You're bigger than that. You can't fit in that container anymore. So you need a bigger pot. It's kind of like a plant, Eventually, your roots are so big, you need a bigger one. You need more space. You're taking up more space, so you can't be confined in that small pot. Two things will happen: the pot will break, or you will suffocate. So you need the room. You need the room to grow, and in order for you to be healthy, to have healthy leaves to keep growing.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I can get down with that.
Okay.
I like that. I don't understand it in the context of outgrow a partner.
Okay, give me a little more than that.
So I think this idea was pitched to us as a permission to outgrow your partner, which is like fine. I think the terminology is kind of a little bit interesting because I imagine that two people are growing at different rates or growing in different ways, or that
Directions. Yeah.
right, or that growth is taking them to opposite sides. So if I'm going right and I'm taking this hard right, and the person I'm in relationship with is taking a hard left, we're not going to the same place anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand what you mean with outgrowing like a situation, and also outgrowing a sense of self, because those things make sense. I don't know if we outgrow people. And sometimes I feel like there's a desire for example, if I'm using that same analogy, I'm going right. I don't know if there's a demand, like, for example, for the person that I'm with to go right as well. But the growth that the person is doing is taking them left. So it's kind
Right.
of like so then does that mean we compromise,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's things you can compromise, but the compromisation, I don't know if that's a word. The compromise have to be from both sides. And at times that doesn't happen, right? Like you're being pulled one direction, the other one the other way, and just coming to that conclusion that, okay, it's best if we both part ways in a way, and that could be one tough decision to make based on what you have together, what you've built together. What empire did you build together? Are there children involved? Are there, assets, companies? I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. And then there's people that have partnerships they never got married, or they don't have things in common. So it's easier to, and I'm not saying easier to come to the decision, more like it's not as complicated as to walk away from it and part ways. But yet it's, and maybe outgrow is not the right term. When you outgrow, you're not outgrowing a person, like, oh, you stay in your small container and I'm moving on to a bigger container. No, it's more, it's all personal, right? Like, because you don't know, the container of that person can be big as well, but it's just left and you're going right. And so it's different. You sometimes your path brings you, or your purpose brings you somewhere else.
Do you feel like there's a thing as like backward, going backwards?
Explain a little more
Well,
context.
like when people refer to, I guess it would be a
Are you talking
regression.
about people taking 2 steps backwards to then
Yeah,
go forward?
like oh, it's they're not growing, and even then, like they had their own place, now they live back with their parents, and this concept of, you know, going backwards, I don't think that's a thing either.
I don't agree with that because it depends. What's your goal, right? Like, is your goal to spend time with your parents? Then absolutely go back and spend, go back and live with them, chill out with them for a minute or two. It's your goal to, it depends on your goals. Like, what's the end game for you, or where is your purpose taking you? Are you going to be traveling all the world to, work with kids that are, I don't know, hungry or whatever? And you don't need a home base. You're just going to be a nomad. I don't know. It really just depends on what the goal is. And to me, the important thing is like making those steps towards it. And even baby steps will get you where you need to get eventually, right? So as long as you're taking those steps towards your goal, and that goal might not be the same anymore. Like at one point, if you were with a partner, you both had the same goal, same vision, the same, you share a lot of the same stuff. And that could change as you change, because we can change every day. I can change tomorrow. I can wake up and be like, I no longer want to do this. I'm doing this, and
Yeah.
and that's all it takes for you to just wake up and say, this doesn't feel right anymore. I'm heading this way, or I'm, and that could be about anything.
Well, so yeah, I don't think there's a, I feel like there's a defense where a person can be regressed in a moment, right? Like experience a moment of being fixated or arrested in a specific development, and that kind of comes out. But I don't think that there's a way of going backwards. Like there,
But that's a decision, whatever backwards means. That's also a decision you're taking, right? And by the way, in order for you, you know how you want to run like a sprint or something, you go backwards a couple of steps just to get you pushed
yeah.
to get that impulse. Or even if you think about ping-pong, was it ping-pong that you pulled back to?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, the little thingy.
Yeah.
And so at times you need that space where you're like contracting, thinking about yourself, and that could mean doing it at your parents. That could be, I don't know, because at a moment maybe you don't know. Okay, where do I want to be? Maybe you don't have all the answers, and by the way, you don't have to have them all.
You don't need all the answers.
But you need. Okay, I need a period of time that maybe I don't have bills, maybe I don't have and then maybe you go to your parents. I don't know. Whatever reason you have to do that, or whatever needs you have at the moment, then do it. I mean, I think when you're in the mentality that anything that's happening is happening for a reason, and it's going to benefit me in some way or form in my learning process or wherever I am, then the small stuff don't matter. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you can be like, oh, well, she used to have a house. Now she's living with her parents. And then it becomes a chisme, a gossip or whatever. Sure. Have fun gossiping about me if you want. But I mean, that's not your life.
I don't know how many times have you gone back to live with my parents?
Never. Actually,
I
no.
have several times. I went
take
back
that
several times.
I take it back.
I'm gonna own that. I admit it. I'm Hispanic.
I went back when I came. So I moved out of the house when I was 18. When I came back from Boston to go to Yukon, I went to Yukon for a couple of years, and I got really sick. Remember, I got sick for a year, almost a year and a half. I came back home because of that, because I was my health took, like, it was, things were happening, and the school didn't want me to be in classrooms because they had no idea what I had. So I went home for, I don't know, it was a short period of time, maybe a year, and then it became the opposite. I had my parents come move in with me, which is the reverse. Not really me going to them, but me inviting them to move in with me. So yeah. So once after being 18, I've only gone back once, and for 1 year.
Okay.
And
yeah, I went back several times. I think everyone has.
I mean, at one point, we're six, and at one point or other, even,
Well, let's see. No, literally everyone has.
yeah, Marisa and Josh did it when they first got married.
When they had Josiah,
their first kid, and then Roberto and Gina lived there too at one point.
Yeah.
Carlos
did as well.
Did as well.
Yeah.
I think out of all of us, I'm the one that has probably lived there the least. The least, right? Because at 18, I left.
And has lived with my parents the longest.
because I invited them to live with me, and I love the years they lived with me. How many years? They lived with me for a long time.
A decade.
Like about 9 years or 10, yeah. Yeah. And then COVID happened, and I got paranoid, and I made them move out. I'm like, I'm not going to be killing you with COVID, so you got to move. And it was tough for me because I was so close to, especially my dad, but that was a little hard for me to make them move. And they're happy.
It needed to happen.
Yeah, yeah. And God bless, John for putting up with
the nonsense.
9 years of my parents. Although they're great,
I love them.
They're great. They're great.
They're great.
They're great, but still they have their things, and my mom, she's super intense, so yeah. And my mom loves him the most. She loves him more than me.
Yo. Okay. So there are some people that want to focus on growth, want to focus on evolving, want to focus on
spirituality,
experiencing things with the passage of time that feeds growth, learning, wisdom, right? So it's not just time is passing, but there's an inherent growth built into it, almost like a weaving process of, time is passing, but I'm using it to, nurture myself, feed my soul, gain the tools and skills and information that I need to, progress as the time is passing. And there are people that don't do that. And I feel like that's not to say that there's anything wrong with that, right? Because people in and of itself, people change over time because there's no choice. We don't really have a choice in change, because change is happening, whether it's happening to you or at you or with you or right. Mm-hmm. But there are, those two kind of camps of people, and sometimes they get in relationships. And sometimes it can be growth from the standpoint of like growing your own business. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it can be growth from like building something. And sometimes it's like legacy stuff, like, okay, I'm building a brand, I'm building this, I'm building a company that requires kind of movement and shifting and throwing things to the wall and seeing what sticks, right? Like throwing the
The pasta.
phrase the pasta.
You throw the pasta if it sticks. Is it ready when it sticks or when it
I
falls?
don't
I
know.
don't know.
So seeing what sticks and being able to kind of have that growth mentality that a lot of entrepreneurs, CEOs, and people that are building something in that sense have. But then there are the people that are focused on growth in the spiritual sense, and that's I think in that space there's a lot of women in that space. Would you agree?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's both now.
You
There's
do?
just a lot of people searching for more, and there's a little bit of both. I
Yeah.
mean, if you remember the retreat we went to, the Joe Dispenza, would you say it was like, 75-25 men? No, there was, it's pretty, I don't want to say even, but there were a lot of men there.
You wouldn't say there were more, just like a lot more women?
There were more women, but it didn't feel like a lot.
Like 60-40?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like, oh my God, most, like, you know how you go to certain things and you see mostly women thing. And even like I go to hot yoga. I went to a class the other day and I was like, we have just about the same amount of men and the same amount of women in this class.
wow.
Right. So, and I count sometimes when I see a lot of guys and I'm like, let me count. Are they beating us today? Just because I find it, I think it's great. I think it's great,
Okay, that's good. I love that.
Yeah, well, before I would go to a yoga class, and it would be before, meaning a couple of years ago. I would go to a yoga class, and it would be mostly women and one guy or two guys. I think this is the time where people are, there's a lot of information, and people are searching for, a connection, searching for purpose, and they're coming to high yoga. By the way, earlier you used the word tools. I didn't want to interrupt you, but you were like, I hate that word.
Tools? I said tools?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. The
No,
tools.
I didn't.
And I'm like, yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you want to rewind?
No.
The tools. I repeated the tools.
No, I didn't.
Yes, Dr. T.
I do have, I feel like I have increasing number of men coming into my practice.
See? I mean, even that, right? Before, just men asking for the help, the emotional support, or just talking about problems or issues. Would you say that has shifted too, from,
Yeah.
I don't know, when you started practicing, how many men do you used to see as patients versus now?
So I think based on the population I see, also I'm seeing a lot more men too. That's also a thing that is happening because I'm in the tech spaces, I'm in the finance spaces. Mm-hmm. So the patients that I'm seeing are from those areas, and those areas are mainly male populated. I feel like there's a correlation with that as well. So
okay.
But I did tell you last time or the time before where my patient suggested I be a matchmaker.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because I told her the type of men that I see aren't what you have in your imagination.
All right.
So what do you think about this idea about, like, what if a partner can't keep up, like, with someone or
keep up? Give me an example. Keep up in what way? Like emotionally, or just in general, like your partner is changing. They're becoming more spiritual. They're doing all of this stuff. And you're like, I'm okay. Let me watch my sports.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Or
yeah, like one partner is evolving fast or having to do things to create forward momentum or growth, and the other partner either doesn't know how to keep up or doesn't always want to, or yeah.
Obviously, that partner is making a choice, and you have to have the conversations, right? Like the conversations of like, okay, it'd be nice if you come to this, or if you're no interest at all in what your other partner's doing, eventually that's gonna create more and more space. And that's my example. I mean, at one point, there was just all this space being created by the direction I was going and how we were both so focused on our growth, but separate ways in a way, And so all of this space getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then at one point we're like, okay, we're cool friends and we're still going to be really good friends. And we're, very respectful to each other and whatnot. We laugh together. We do things. I mean, when we, around the kids, dinner together, it's like, but there's not that emotional connection. No, there's a lot of that stuff is gone. And then the thought of how do I go back to being where I was? And that to me, that felt like going backwards. I couldn't find myself to do it. Or, like how do you force yourself to just reconnect with a partner emotionally when it's just been so much time of space? And so I found that like I knew I'm like, I don't think I can do it mentally or physically. And so that was it.
What was the moment? What was the deciding moment?
Some years ago, I think a couple of I don't know, 2 or 3 maybe, I don't know, just thinking about, because the one thing that were keeping us together, or more like the one thing that we had strongly in common, that we were both have and still have the same goals as the boys. And to me, the thought of, okay, well, Brendan's about to go to college in a couple of years, and Aiden still has, well, now he has 4 years, but I'm like, what am I going to do when they're gone? Like what is the household going to look when the kids are gone and we don't have this interaction or team work that we do because of the boys? And that was like not scary, but it was like, like we're so far apart. Like everything I do, he doesn't like doing. And whatever he does, I don't do. Like he golfs, I don't. He likes a different type of movies. I like totally different stuff. I mean, like, so we're so apart in taste and activities that we do that I was like, what are we going to connect in? And at times that we have connected in certain shows and whatnot, but it's not enough. So if I want to travel somewhere, I was doing a lot of that on my own.
Were you lonely?
I want to say at times I have felt lonely, but for the most part, I was just happy being with myself. Like and I don't know if that has to do with being an Aquarius. And like we're so, in a way, independent, very freedom. And to me, that freedom, it felt like freedom still, meaning I was married, but I was doing everything like if I was single. And that to me, that gave me a sense of freedom in a way. I was doing everything, like, okay, if I wanted to go anywhere or I wanted to work on something, I was like, hey, I'm doing this. You want to come with? No? Okay, great. I'm going. Like it never stopped me from doing the activities I wanted to do. Did I try to include him on a lot of the stuff? I did, but it has to be both ways.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he has his side of the coin where he's like, well, I wanted to do this and you said no. I don't know. I'm sure he has plenty of those moments too, but at the end we're good people. We like each other. We don't need to be married.
Yeah, for sure.
And so,
okay. So,
and the other thing you say, when did you come to the conclusion, is like at one point just the thought, like, because there's so much separation, meaning emotionally separation, that or distance, that physically I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't have an intimate relationship with him without feeling like it was a job. And so for me, for my body to just feel like, and I don't want to say like rejection, but in a way it was, because it's like, in the way I try to explain it, it's like you have a good friend and they want to have intimacy with you. And no, it just feels weird. It just didn't feel anymore like, like it should, like a couple.
Yeah. And did it feel like the two of you were growing in different directions?
Yeah, because he's still doing his own thing. He does hypnosis and stuff, and we're growing at different rates for sure, different intensities as well. But yeah, like he's becoming an awesome version of himself too, we're just not, like, I celebrate what he's doing and stuff like that, but we have lost a lot throughout the years.
Okay. So I don't know, the growth situation, growing, outgrowing, growing different directions, growing at different rates. Do you think any of that matters for a relationship?
What really matters, I think, is the whole communication thing. At times we weren't doing a great job with that. And I feel like I did a lot more of that than him, but I think it matters, yeah, because I think if you communicate and there's gotta be presence, care about what the other person is doing and showing up for whatever they're doing too. So I think it matters.
Trying to relate it back to my situation, right? So I feel like the only time I could say I know exactly what it feels like to feel myself outgrow someone was in my second relationship, and I was dating I was in a long-term intimate partnership with a woman that was 11 years older than me, 11 years my senior, and she worked at the job that I had when I started, my first job after uni. And it was my first job. Like I wasn't going to stay there forever. You know what I mean? So I was working with her. I mean, she was an established person at the job, but with her, she didn't have plans. Like,
Okay, well, you're talking about drive. She didn't have that drive for the goals. So,
but she didn't have she didn't have plans for the future. She saw herself renting this apartment. She saw herself working in the same job. She wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like there was
yeah,
no something, next year, next month, or
there was
in
no
the next
drive.
5 years.
There was just like, oh,
This is life, c'est la vie. Like, like we're doing this thing, and I'm doing, and I'm here, and I have this job, and I have this title, and this is it. And I'm like, what?
I feel, and I don't want to say that John didn't have those kind of drive or go, like
No, he was doing stuff.
he was doing stuff.
Yeah.
But at times it did feel like a lot of what he was doing was the same. But it was also when you are comfortable with a job, and when I did a job for 13 years for this one company, and it was basically doing this every day. The same thing. The same. Was I learning something new? At times, I got different responsibilities and whatnot, but it was basically that.
Did you side hustle?
Well, I've always done some of my artwork and stuff. Yeah. I've always done a little something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't, like I don't live to work, if that's what you meant. And I don't think I've ever have.
No, but I mean, like, you had stuff on the side. You weren't just doing work.
No, I was, yeah. I was always into something whatever my passion was driving me. And it was at that point I was doing a whole bunch of races, running marathons and half marathons, hot races, all kinds of. I have a ton of medals in one drawer. And that was, I did put my body through a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so is drive different? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, okay. We're talking about your partner.
No,
the ex-partner. Your ex-partner.
The woman that I was in relationship with when I was in my 20s.
Exactly. So, but she had her whatever issues she had, She also was a prisoner of her whatever amount of space she can roam around. Like she couldn't drive past somewhere. I remember you telling me.
I think her inactivity. I think
she had issues, right? Like she couldn't leave a town or something. She had limits that she couldn't go. She had a border.
Radius. She had a radius. Okay.
Radius.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me this. That's how I was like, wow. So I remember you telling me this, that she couldn't go past, I don't know how many miles. I don't know if she had a radius she could not exit for some reason. And so where is she going to go? You know what I mean? Like, so your limits right there and there, she had a ceiling. She had a stop. Like she had like, okay, I can go past this. And so that, to me, that was the main issue with that. And that's why at one point I said to you, where is this going?
I think you were looking. No, it was Valentine's Day. It was Valentine's Day.
I'm like, are you staying?
You were like, where are you going?
I'm
looking
like,
at me in front of her. Wow, you have to talk about this. Are you going to tell the story about Valentine's Day? It was Valentine's Day. When was that?
And I don't know why you invited me to your Valentine's dinner. Yeah, why did
because you were alone.
Okay, whatever. So
2000. It was like 2008, probably. It's like 2008.
She probably remembers, like, okay, this girl. Why? It
was like 2009.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Whatever. So
whatever the date was. What do you remember?
What I remember is that we went out to eat. It was what was it, New Britain? No, it was West Hartford.
I don't know where. Oh, because we lived in West Hartford too.
And you had a radius, you couldn't go, right? So she couldn't drive past a certain place because she would get anxiety? Something.
I really don't remember this.
She had a radius.
Sure.
She couldn't go far away.
She had parameters, sure, but whatever. Go on. Go on.
So we are close, obviously, to wherever you were living, and we go to eat for dinner. And then I remember, like I didn't think you were happy. And then I'm like, what are you gonna? Where is? So we're having dinner. Was it after dinner or before? No, it was after dinner.
It was after dinner.
So we're done eating dinner, and I looked at both of you, and I'm like,
"No, you looked at me."
And I'm like, "So
you were sitting across from me,
on Valentine's
and you just looked at me."
And I go, like, "What's the goal here? Like, are you staying in this parameter?" Like,
and I was like, "What?"
Okay, so I know it came from a place of love, but I also have no filter. So sometimes...
No, it was poor timing.
It was poor timing too. It was Valentine's Day.
It was set and setting, Koi. Yeah. Set and setting. Come on.
And I was like, okay, what are you guys doing? Because also you guys were like going to Was it breakup, coming back together?
Well, and then you were like, you looked at her and you were like, do you want to be with her?
Yeah, I was just like, are you happy? I mean, like, oh my God.
Well, I don't necessarily know if she could be happy. You know what I mean? Like I think that she has parameters on happy as well.
So the point was, because I know you really liked her, and that's why you guys were living together and whatnot. But you were like going through like the breakup, the coming back, that patch, and I'm like, okay, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, do you really want to be with her? And I don't know why this came out, and you should have invited me another day. I don't know why you invited me for Valentine's Day. Like, I don't know.
So we could chill.
And then, wouldn't you say, right after that Valentine's dinner, I think you guys broke up.
Yeah, that led to some stuff. I mean, okay, so you know how last time we were talking about toilet paper? Well, not last. Because last week was the past lives, whatever, the lost episode, the one that we fished out of the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
So the week of my book launch, we were talking about what was it that we were talking about?
The names of the book, and one of the names of the book was
the toilet paper.
It came down.
Yeah, it came down to the toilet paper. Well, this relationship came down to the fucking garage. The garage.
I don't remember the garage story. Can you?
Okay, so we were living in this apartment, and her aunt like governed the property because the property was owned by her aunt's best friend, like aunt BFF.
I do remember that. And also there was an older lady involved. Like, was she the owner?
She was the owner. She was the aunt's BFF that lived in the bottom. It was like a duplex. It was like a home split in two.
That place was beautiful.
That place was fire. I love that place.
That place was beautiful. Yeah.
We also had parameters inside the home because she wanted it to look pristine. Nah, we're not going to get into that. Okay. So anyway, we lived in that apartment, and I was her roommate, quotes, her roommate.
She was in the closet.
Except everyone in her family knew, all of our friends knew. Everyone knew. And she didn't want to admit it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Okay. So then the garage. So you got to imagine we're living in a town in New England, in Connecticut, in the middle of Connecticut.
A very fancy town called West. No. West Hartford.
West Hartford.
Yeah.
And it snows in Connecticut. I don't know if you know that, but I don't know if anyone listening knows that it snows in Connecticut. So it snows in Connecticut. And the fancy West Hartford people don't want you to park on the streets. And they monitor who's parking on the streets. Because we're really close to Hartford and all these other parts that aren't a lot less fancy, right? So they're kind of, who's parking on the streets. If I park on the streets, I have to give my license plate, right?
Okay.
So when it snows, there was this big thing with where do I put my car? And the garage was full of junk. So she couldn't park in there. And I was like, just get rid of the stuff in the garage.
What's she using?
And And I didn't get it.
Well, was she using any of it, or was it just stuff she couldn't part ways with?
That's not relevant.
It is, because sometimes you hold stuff that is useful.
She wasn't,
to you.
okay, she wasn't using any of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know if it was sentimental. It all looked like junk.
Okay.
I think you know how I feel about that.
About junk? Yeah, you tell me I have a lot of junk too. I do have a lot of junk.
I can help you.
I know.
Trust me, I'm a psychologist.
I do have, you see, I see the potential in some stuff, and especially with my art projects. And so I'm like, oh, I have an idea for this. But then I have so many ideas that I end up holding on to a lot of things. But when I'm doing a project, and then I'm like, I remember, oh, this will be awesome in this. And then I grab it and it's right there. So I like it that I hold on to some stuff, but then some stuff I really do need to let go. So
Yeah. And whenever you need help for that, you let me know.
Oh yeah, because you will throw away a picture of your mom holding you when you were a baby. I remember that. I remember you bringing me all your pictures. Like, I don't want to hold on to this, and I'm like, oh, so you want me to hold on to your junk?
No, you get rid of it. So to park on the road, it was such a big hassle, and we would have this conversation like predictably every winter. We were together for at least 5 winters.
Oh, that long, huh? Yeah.
Yes, that long. So like, or somewhere around, whatever. It really doesn't matter. So it's a predictable. It's gonna snow next weekend.
Let's have a fight.
Like, can you just get rid of the junk in the garage so that you can park there, and then I can park behind you?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And it never happened, and she never did anything. I mean,
was the garage in her perimeter or outside of her perimeter? Because maybe she couldn't go into the garage, right? And that would make a lot of sense.
So the garage was the symbolically, like, I can't do this. I can't activate. There's a thing that, could make our lives easier, and I can't do it. There's a simple thing like telling my family, who already knows that we're together, to make our lives easier. And it just couldn't happen. So I was like, I'm not going to be your roommate for like the rest of our lives. You know that, right?
So you outgrew her. No, I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you.
So I feel like I can understand that phrasing when I apply it to this relationship, but it wasn't that.
It was your parameters were way bigger than.
But my parameters were way bigger than that from the get. I mean, yeah.
So from the beginning, but you were making a decision to share your space, your time with that person, even within those parameters, right? Her parameters or whatever, just being part of her life. So again, that's a decision you make every day until you no longer can.
And I did make it.
Yeah.
Right. So then.
But you're also expecting. So you're making this decision every day, but you're also expecting the other person to make compromising decisions as well to meet you somewhere. And so when that doesn't happen, okay, I'm not going to call it you outgrow, but you start growing a different direction. So if we're thinking of the analogy of the plan, your plan gets bigger, you need a bigger pot, but also where is the light? Is the light this way? Your plant is going to start turning towards that way. So the leaves are going to go more towards the sun, and the part that doesn't get sun, it's going to become a little less full, and it's going to shift that way. And so, like the light, you have to go in that direction.
Yeah, exactly. I will say that when I was married, right, I feel like I just the noise, man. Are you glad you're not having to come into the city anymore to do this?
Funny you should ask. Somebody asked me that today.
Okay, what's the answer?
So my friend, he helped me move. So I got a new bed. He helped me move my bed to the apartment. And that was basically the last big piece of furniture I needed to, to be able to make it a livable space, somewhere I can sleep in.
Nice.
So I have a bed. It's super comfy. Thank you, Lara. Lara gave it to me, my sister's sister-in-law. Anyway.
Oh, I bet it's a sweet bed.
It's very comfy. I was like, oh, okay. This is the fanciest bed I've ever had.
Lara for the win.
Anyway, so I went to eat lunch, because I told him, okay, if you help me, I'll buy you lunch. Okay. So we went to eat lunch. And he asked me, because he's one of our listeners, and he asked me, okay, so now that you are recording from your house, do you miss going into the city? Do you miss spending face-to-face time with your sister, spending more time together? And I'm like, yes. And no.
What?
Because the yes is that we were able to keep up with with our quota, right? with
my high bar requirements.
Yes. So we were able to keep this up because I don't have to spend 3 hours back and forth just to record a couple of episodes. And also we don't have to do them in a row, change our clothes. So it looks like it was a different day. So we do 2, sometimes 3 episodes
wardrobe
in one
changes.
day. I was like, okay, let me change my top.
That was so funny. Why did we do that?
I don't know. But
I don't know.
And we don't have to I don't have to stay overnight at times and sleep in your couch, and which is okay.
My couch is comfortable.
It's not uncomfortable. It's just not as comfortable as my bed. So
fair.
Okay, good. I do miss going to Marshall with you.
Why did we go to the same place every single time?
Okay, so there's this spot called, what is it called?
Marshall. The
Marshall. And, they have a really good
they have
Brussels
a really good
salad. Pie. The burrata thing that we got with the bread. Ooh, that's really good. It's pizza. It's like, it's farm to table. It's really, so we should get a commission for this. Anyway,
the owner is a member at my box.
Okay, you should tell him. Listen to this episode. We mentioned
we
mentioned your spot.
Yeah,
we should get a free dinner. Anyway, anyway, how many times did I go to the city to record? I was going every other week, or was it?
How many times did we go eat at that place?
I don't know.
I don't know.
9 out of 10 times.
Probably.
Yeah. So to the point that they will be like, oh, there they are.
Oh, you're back.
You're back.
Hey.
Regulars. Once you get that, it's just, you've been there way too many times. So I do miss that, and I do miss the person to person. But I mean, we do see each other. We talk to each other, but it is not the same. But at the same time, it's less work for me.
Yeah, for sure.
And so,
and then there was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Whatever. So back to the topic at hand, right? We're back on track. So within my marriage, I feel like everything changed, and she was constantly going, like she was trying to win some kind of race. And I was the one that was trying to slow slow down. I
Going
mean,
like with her activities, you mean, like
with her stuff, with her growth, her, you know,
she was like,
perpetually looking for something. She was trying to do, you know, X, Y, and Z, but it was it was challenging because it was avoidant of the thing that she needed to do, which was
really,
be with herself, right?
okay,
So it was weird because I learned how to evolve fast and how to go fast and go quickly because I wasn't going fast before. So it was like the dynamic has shifted, and at the same time it wasn't like a net positive, you know, because she was so focused on changing something that was inherent to her, right? So the growth wasn't going anywhere because it was circular in its nature, because there was nowhere she could go other than within herself, right?
What she needed to work on was in, not out and trying to find other things to help. Yeah.
Right. And like the magic key thing, or the magic solution, or this is it, this is the thing that will change all the things.
Her water filter.
The $400 water filter is the thing that she needed. Is the thing that she needed, you know, that would solve all the things. Come on. No.
Just okay, no. I got it right, the water filter.
Yeah, it was the water filter. So I think part of it is the whether fast or slow or growth or whatever the pace is, I feel like there's a way to make it happen if two people are invested.
And if they have the right communication, and if they like really show up for one another. Just you can hold space for that person wherever they are. I think it's possible. I just, you know, it just didn't happen for me at this round.
Round 2.
But I made the decision to just go the way I'm being pulled to work on my purpose, to do all of this stuff with the circle of women. I'm like, I'm finding my like, I'm grounded. My roots are in, and I am, you know, I'm being that bridge, and that feels amazing, and that feels very fulfilling. And so that's where it is.
When Quisita got her groove back.
And this is not a thought of like, oh, who am I going to be with next? It's more of a thought of whoever comes in next needs to align with what I'm doing, understand my purpose, and somehow add up, not subtract. And so that's it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The thing is, I feel like it's difficult sometimes to decide, okay, we gave it a go and that's enough. You know, I feel like that point is just like the challenging bit. Like, okay, let's just call it, you know.
Mm-hmm. For me, it was more the kids. Like, okay, it's the kids. It's so little. They're so this, it's so that. But at the same time, there was also an excuse, you know, like,
for sure,
there was always something. But he's a nice guy. But he's awesome. But he's so, know, he's so kind. He's so this, like, you know, and so there was all of these things. And at the end, you have to understand that even though, they're amazing human beings, they can still just be friends. and that's what we were for many, many years, and couldn't connect back to being an actual, you know, couple.
Hey, at least you recognized it, because for me, I just never even thought about it. I remember back to like right before we moved back into New York, because we were living in New York before the pandemic. Right before we moved back to New York, we were living in Little Rock, Arkansas, and part of it was like, I'm so not happy with something. What can I change? I never ever thought about changing my relationship. like I never even, that never even crossed my mind. Like out of all the things that could change, because I'm seeing, I was seeing things as fixed, right? Like my family is my family. My wife is my wife. My, identity is my identity. Like I was born in Peru. I can't change that, right? I'm married. I can't change that, right? So like, even with it, that's part of the reason why in the book I wrote, like, it forced me to have flexibility in a place where I was inflexible, because it was a fixed point, right? So even having the awareness, oh, I can choose not to be in this relationship. What a novel idea.
But if you think about it too, like we were brought up to be like, okay, a marriage is forever. This is, you have to sacrifice. You have to, the women have to be the ones that do most of the work, and all of these things that you are basically, the downloads you get, like you're wired that way because you that was set as an example from grandma to your mom to now, and then you go like, wait a minute. It doesn't have to be forever. endeavor, because and in the case that it is, then there's got to be the commitment and how much you put into that relationship. It has to be, balanced and together, and be a team, have the same goal, have the same blueprint. Because we all each have our own blueprint. I have mine, he had his. We didn't have one together.
Yeah.
And so I did my thing, he did his thing, and we were like, okay, this is great. We're so independent and doing our thing. We're nice to each other. It felt comfortable. It felt nice. And it also felt amazing to be, in a way, free and single to do whatever I wanted. And I don't mean in that way, I mean it like I was free to, okay, I'm going to go here, I go, you do your thing, I do my thing. And so it was very independent, and that felt very comfortable to me for a long, long time. Were there times that I felt like alone? Absolutely. I mean, even on our vacations, everybody had their spouse, significant other. It was just me and the boys, right? So there was I didn't have a team, like,
Yeah. So we have to wrap up because I have to go CrossFit.
Oh, okay.
So this is what we have for you this week. The irregularity of growth. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Give yourself permission to just,
grow at your own pace.
Grow your own pace. And that could mean grow separate ways, or it could mean really investing in growing together with someone. But yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Until next time.
And we'll be back
with your permission.
And that is all we have for you this week.
Make sure you follow Permission the Podcast.
And we'll be back next week with your permission.